All right, guys, here we go again, man. One more set. Look at that logo down there in that corner. That logo is fire. Fire. Yo, so we're back at it again with Chelle. We're doing that AOS. And, we're trying to, like I say, build the body and trying to give you different ways and different looks, man. This is the year of transformation. This is year of the body snatchers. And we're making a big change. We're making impacts all throughout this platform. So right now, what Chelle and I are doing right now, we're displaying what we can do as far as suspension training goes. And suspension training is really cool because it allows you to work and use your own body weight. Also, before I forget, I want you guys to remember to like us and make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms. We're just trying to grow, trying to bring the best in, of course, education and in fitness, giving you a new look and give you something different. So back to this, man. We're trying to get Chelle to really engage her core. As you can see, I'm just trying to maintain her, making sure that she's doing what she needs to do. I'm gonna step back, look at what she's doing, making sure that she's following all of her protocol. She's hitting it. She's hitting it strong. So here's one of my favorite things, man. A lot of people like to focus on explosive movements. What we're going to call this is an explosive moment. So it's really important that, our clients are able to mimic some of the things they do in everyday life. This isn't just, when we're trying to push a door open, even when we're trying to, push a chair. Those things it's actually an explosive movement. As you can see, she started to raise her head up a little bit as she was coming up, and I wanted to correct her. I don't want her to stop the movement, but I wanted to correct her and give her that verbal cue, like, hey, keep your head down. Make sure you don't put your head up, because I don't want her to move into her core. I want her to do nothing but chest work, all chest work. And if you've been following Chelle in our program, you know that she's super strong in her chest. This is one of her weakest areas, but now it's becoming one of her strongest areas. So we're going to move on and take her to her knees now. And what we're going to do now is we're going to try to focus on trying to get her into this pattern of explosive push-up. And that's what we want to do right now. We want to try to get her into this explosive push-up and make this thing happen for her right here. So I'm just going to come behind her and, kind of move her back a little bit and try to make sure that, we get her hips down like that, So I want her to go down and I want her to work on that explosion and really pushing up and releasing her hands off. I don't want her to go into the push-up and then just kind of land jarring her shoulders. So I have her absorb that push-up. And she's doing good. And this isn't like the clapping push-up because, I want her to just get enough off right here. So we're about to move into this pectoralis fly. That's a hard word to say. So moving into this pectoral fly. And this is also going to work on her balance. This is what is all about strength. This is what is all about balance. This is what is all about stability. We gotta have that. So again, I'm just demonstrating what we're doing. Again, making sure that we always do it, we always show it, we always tell it, and we want them to be able to, mimic some of the things that we do with proper form. So I'm gonna get down here and I'm gonna check her out, make sure that she's in the right position, making sure she's not using any compensation. This movement is so powerful, guys. So as you can see, she tried to drive her elbows back. So I'm going to give her a cue. And the cue that I use is, hey, make sure that you're kind of hugging the ball and coming right out. Good. And you can see how now she's kind of moving into that. And she's keeping her foot up, trying to keep that balance. I want to cue her and to make contact to the planet. Always make contact to the planet. Just like that, giving her that reassurance. She's going to switch sides right here. And again, that one side is always more difficult than the other side. So again, this is us working that strength. She has to work on that balance. And she's working basically on a peg leg, just about. And using nothing but her horizontal adduction strength in that chest. We talked about that in the last series. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you go back and check that out. So now we're going to go into more explosive moments, right? So we're working on her hips, working on quadriceps, and we're using that TRX as a guide to get her up and not so much jumping straight up, but trying to get her to move into this little bit of an angle, of that 45-degree angle. You'll see when she starts to jump, you'll see that she goes straight up and she's pulling against the system, and it actually throws her forward. So you'll see that in the video coming up here soon. But again, with proper cueing, and I giving her that reassurance to go through her hips. Now you'll see her load, and you'll see her explode up and come forward. So she's doing more of a broad jump as opposed to just an angled jump or a 45 jump. You'll see that as she starts to go through it, she starts to find her fluidity, and now she's going through it and she's busting it out and cranking it out. This is great for the glutes. This is also great for the quadriceps, but it also gets that heart rate up as well. So for the next one, we're going to go into this pistol squat. Again, this is assisted pistol squat. This is very effective when it comes to just isolating the quadricep. And we're not using our arms to pull us up. We're just using that as a guide, or, it's kind of like, I'd say, the 80-20 rule. It's going to be 80% of the legs that is going to actually do the movement, and then it's going to be at least 20% of the arms to help us guide, just so that we don't fall down on our bottom. So we're getting her into position here, and you'll see that, that nervousness happens, and that's common. Boom. Boom. And I've noticed that what she was doing with this is that she was doing more of her arms and pulling with her arms, as opposed to pushing with her leg. Again, just giving that correction, guys. Always trying to find ways that we can educate our clients and educate our patients. We have to do this, guys. We have to do this. This is super important. So again, you see that she's actually pushing through this movement here. That's strength. That's excellence right there. So this next one here, this is one of my weakest things. It's one of my weakest moments here. As you can see, my knee likes to cave in and buckle in. That's just because of the weak hips, but I actually practice this movement a lot. But with my multiple sclerosis, it's really hard for me to really master this, but I am working on it. It's better than what it was. But the things that challenge me, I want to challenge my clients as well. So I want to make sure that my clients are getting some of the same challenges, or being presented the same challenges that I'm challenging for myself. So that's super important. So this is the single leg lunge with the suspension, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spot Chelle here and just give her a little bit of support. So as she comes up and she fires off that leg, you see her leg kind of cocks out to the side, and this is good for me to see, because this also shows that she has a lot of abduction that's happening with her hip as well. So of course, we always want to finish out our program with some type of core movement. So this is simulating a ab roller or an ab wheel. Again, this is all about suspension. This is also going to help her to get her core. At this point right now, her core is on fire. Her core is just burning out right now. And that's what we want. We want that core to be completely fatigued by the time we get to the isolated part of the core. So I'm just getting this band together for her here, and just making sure that we get her on the right size, and just reassuring her, making sure that she's good, making sure that she's feeling good. And we get her down here, and she's going to just rock this roll out. And you'll see where, she does a little bit of compensation where that foot comes up. And I was noticing that she was doing more pressing with her hips and more pressing with her quads and her arms as she was getting any core action. So just a light guide here and coming away from it here. Again, turning away from her, which is super important. Checking my mirrors, checking her form, because again, you just can't look at the client and say, okay, you're doing it right. You have to check every angle. If you don't have mirrors, walk around your client. If you don't have mirrors, or you don't want to look at your client like that, set up a camera so that you can have a different angle and a different perspective. Yo, we're in our bag. Like I said, one more set. We change it live. Why? Because change begins now. This is just what we do. One more set. Man, we are out. We are doing nothing but transforming, body snatching.